Hey guys, welcome back, and this is one of those videos where I'm gonna be doing something that I don't know even why I'm doing it. So you can tell by the title where I'm gonna be trying to refinish this head without taking it to a machine shop. So I bought these heads a couple weeks ago. Probably shouldn't have bought them because they are really hammered. If I bought them again, I would have probably offered the guy, probably half of what I paid. But let me bring you in and show you what I got to start with, and hopefully by the end of this we'll have something decent to be able to work with it. Alright, so this is one of the Y303 Ford Motorsport SVO aluminum cylinder heads that I bought. And if you can see from some of the reflections, I don't know how well the GoPro is going to show this. It doesn't do things good up close. But the surface is really hammered. Some corrosion pockets. It has been skimmed a lot. And my fear is it's been skimmed enough to where things are going to start becoming complicated with intake manifold, bolt alignment, and things like that. And piston to valve clearance, compression heights, so on and so forth. So if you can look like in the corners here of the head, they have these horseshoe shaped little indentions. Well, it should look like this GT40P head I have here off to the side. I can bring you over and you can see the shape and how deep these things look. So that is about the thickness that the factory puts out there to how much you can practically skim ahead without going too far and compromising a lot of things. Well, on these heads you can see they have gone about down to the absolute max of taking material off this head. I don't know if they bevel cut it or anything like that to do anything weird, but that's what I got to work with. So what I'm gonna do to clean this up, because I don't want to take this to a machine shop, because one, they may not do it. Well, they probably do it if you pay them, but they're going to just keep going and going until everything's cleaned up. But that's not all exactly what I need. So I just need the bare minimum to get it done. And over here in England, it is expensive to get anything done, and it takes forever. So I'm going to have my hand at resurfacing this myself. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to do that. Nice and easy and quick. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I have a piece of glass that I used some contact cement spray adhesive on some wet dry sandpaper. And one side I got 320 and the other side I got some 600. So that's what I'm going to use to surface this head. So this isn't just a little thin piece of glass like for replacement cheap stuff. This stuff is pretty thick. It's at least 2/1000 or yeah. So this is not gonna bend or flex or anything like that. When you're putting pressure on it, it's gonna be super dead flat, and that's what we're after. So all I'm gonna do, hit it with some WD-40. I'm gonna start on the 320 side, and I'm gonna get sanding. Nice even pressure. And I'll speed this up here and I'll come back in about 5 minutes and show you the first set of results. Alright, just showing you a quick pass with the iPhone. So all the areas that are just not going to clean up yet. This is a classic example of what happens to a head when somebody uses one of those Scotch-Brite wheels on it. I don't even have one right now, but they use it on something like this. And they go, they'll clean it up and it looks all nice and shiny, but they touch all kinds of areas and make low spots. I mean, you can see like the grinder marks from it, and they clean the chamber up and like between all the ports. So this thing would have been blown head gaskets. I would promise you if I hadn't been, if you didn't skim this head or do what I'm doing right now. I mean, you can see the shine this puts on. That's only with 600 grit sandpaper. I can go down to like 1,000 or 2,000 or something like that and really make it look like a mirror. But there's no need. I just want to get it flat, you know, to get the low spots out. Pretty much just around the sealing rings of everything, and then we'll call it good. I don't think this corrosion is going to be a problem because the head gasket's going to go right around it. So yeah, I'm going to put some red Dicam on here and do a little bit more sanding and bring you back in to really see if I can show up a good contrast for you. So I just did another round of sanding after I put the Dicam on there, and it's cleaned up better than I had thought. The other head was a lot worse, but still got a low area here through the compression area, which you can tell like something got in the chamber and bounced around a little bit, all the dings and dents, but between the cylinders isn't too bad. So what I'm gonna do is just check some things. Check this head for straightness now that it's kind of cleaned up. What I got here is a precision straight edge. So you lay it across the head, you check for warpage. Usually either you look for light coming through it or you got a feeler gauge. The smallest one I got, it's a 0.0015 thou thickness, and nothing there. Probably gonna get somewhere the red is here. And yep, slips under there just a little bit. It's kicked out over here. So all through here, I'm sure it's gonna, yep, slips right under there. Starts grabbing. Oh, actually, it's a little low up through here. Oh. So, yeah, this head needs a little bit more work. Just trying to get under there just a little bit. Across there. Alright. His head is just a little low in the middle. There it goes. So, I mean, the glass with it isn't foolproof, but I know we're not done yet because it still needs a little bit more to clean up. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep going and bring you back when I think I'm at my happy point. Alright, so this is after the 1,000 grit pass. So you can see how shiny the surface gets. So just like if you would go to a machine shop, and the big thick glass keeps it super flat, no distortion, so a lot of the stuff, you know, will come right at me. This is corrosion pits. This is from something dinging the cylinder, but that's outside the fire ring. So what we're going to use is a 1084 head gasket, only because the fire rings, I don't know if you can see, are pretty wide. So if you use an 1101, see how narrow they are? So if we use this is a better head gasket, but in this situation we're not going to run boost or anything like that, so, or nitrous. So this is standard head gasket with the wider fire ring, especially like around here. It's just starting to touch the fire ring of that head gasket, so this one will be a heck of a lot better. So yeah, it's actually a little lower the way it rides, so we're not even in the area for that. So all this won't be a consequence for sealing. It looks terrible, but it's very superficial now. The surfacing is done, and I think we're going to be in a happy place to use these. So I am not condoning this by any means, but it's a method that's worked well in the past. It's worked for many, and it's going to do just fine. So take it for what it is, but this is the way it's going to go. We're running it on our little 302. So I'm probably going to take the glass plates and just do the deck surfaces, make sure they're good and true, make sure there's not going to be any surprises, and we'll keep getting this thing together. So, all right, guys, I'm just finishing up a lot of cleanup work on these heads, and you know, if you can see how good the finish is, I mean, you can see the reflection of my hand, the aluminum. So I mean, it is a viable way to clean these up. There's a lot of hammer marks, some stuff going on with these heads over the years, but I think they're still worth saving, because if you could look after cleaning up, I use some of this carburetor parts cleaner. It works really good on getting carbon off of aluminum, because you can use like oven cleaner on cast iron, but you can't use it on aluminum to get carbon off. So use that with a gray Scotch-Brite pad, clean these chambers up, and if you can see, I want to know if I can zoom in. These heads have been CNC ported, and the CNC'd for the chambers. So you can see all the machining ridges, things like that. And there's some areas that I guess weren't touched, because that's the differences in the castings. So if you come over here, you can see there's a big area in here that wasn't touched by the CNC. But so, and then I give you, look it down in the ports, get a light here. You can see all the CNC machine marks. There's a step there where I guess that things changed. Looks like they went here for a bit, and then they went the other way for a bit, getting the corners out. And they're all exactly the same in the way they've been done. So it's like, man, I really want to try to use these heads. I think that'd be great. So I got all the valves cleaned up. I want to take these to a machine shop and get the valve faces done, because there's one or two little nicks in the seats, probably from trash going through it. And doing my little light check and spinning them, you can tell that some of them are just a little bit tweaked, and it doesn't look like they've ever been turned before. So we're going to give it a shot, get all the faces ground from machine shop, and that's the only thing hopefully I'll be needing to do outside what my garage is capable of. So yeah, I like to CC these before they get on the engine, before I get the heads all done, and see what they turn out to be. But yeah, this is what it's going to be. So stay tuned and we'll keep putting it together.